Hi, everyone. Welcome to today's free webinar. We're happy to have you with us or watching via recording. Today, RJ Hixson is going to speak about real intelligence and artificial intelligence when it comes to developing great trading systems. RJ?
Yeah, thanks, Sarah. Hi, everybody. Welcome. It's been an interesting couple of weeks with AI just exploding onto the scene. So we've had some conversations about what AI means for trading system development, for trading in general. I'm not going to talk about, we could go for hours on AI, and we're not going to do that, but we're going to focus in on hopefully something that you're interested in is how to be a better trader, how to develop better systems. So I've got a handful of slides to go through, and we'll go through those. And if you have questions that come up as we go along, Sarah is monitoring chat. So put a question in the chat and she has permission to interrupt me. I'm focusing on the slides and presentation, so I'm not paying attention to chat a whole lot. So I hope you're well. Hope you find this interesting, and let's get started here. Brief agenda. So we're looking at trading with the system, first of all, today, AI in system development, and then capturing the missing ingredient. What's the missing ingredient? Well, it's not AI. I'll give you a hint. Although AI can help, but AI is not the missing ingredient in systems development. All right, so we want to start off with a survey. Everybody okay with that? First question. This is just about trading systems. So do you trade with a system or more, more than one system, multiple systems with, okay, so here's the qualifier, with written rules, and you follow those rules better than 95% of the time. So you're not making many mistakes. Excuse me. You're not making many mistakes executing those rules. So the choices you have are yes, and that means you have rules written down and you're doing basically 19 out of 20 trades without a mistake. And then sometimes either not all your rules are written down, or you don't follow them all of the time or most of the time, or no. You might say, some people might say I'm a discretionary trader, or no, I just don't have a lot of the rules written down and I don't follow the rules a lot. So Sarah, if you can throw that question up, let's see what folks answer here. This should be interesting. So do you have a system? Do you trade with the system more appropriately? So yes, sometimes, or no.
RJ, this time it posted all three questions right away, but
okay.
We want to just start with the first one for now.
Yeah, you can answer the following questions, but really we're going to focus on the first question, and we'll throw it back up when the second question comes up. So the sometimes group is in the lead at about half, maybe 60% or so. Sarah, how many folks do we have on the call? I'm watching the total number here.
We've got 55.
55. Okay, so we've got a few more folks to answer. You don't have to worry. No, none of this is going public. So if you want to answer no or sometimes, that's fine. Nobody's going to know. So do you trade with one or more of the trading systems? So I would ask you to make sure you answer that question. Then we'll get to the second question here in a few minutes. All right. So let's say we've got a pretty good sample here, more than half. So the winner for the group is sometimes. I'm not really surprised. That's an answer I would not be surprised about. So we do have 40% of the group that have rules that are written down and they're following. That's good. Commend you folks. No discretionary traders. Okay. We've got 15% of the folks saying that. Interesting. All right. So most of the folks have some rules written down, or they don't follow the rules all the time. So, we're kind of evening up here. So more of an even split between traders who have rules and traders who don't. Okay, good. Thank you. All right. So Sarah, we'll come back to question 2 here in a little bit. And if you didn't get to this, the next questions, go ahead and hold tight. We're going to get to those. All right. The reality is most traders in the market don't trade with the system. Most traders do have some kind of strategy, and I should have put strategy in quotation marks, right? They have some reason to get into trades or get out of trades, and you can refer to that as a strategy. You might call a newsletter a strategy, right? I follow somebody who has a system or a strategy, and I'm following them. That's my strategy. Most traders actually don't trade with a system, and most traders don't have written rules. So if you were in one of the groups of the first two answers, great, good work. There's some progress to be made. Even after trading a number of years and following systems, I've got some progress to make as well. But the reality is, most people in the markets, with this Van Tharp group, you're here, so we're in this small minority of people who have an idea about what a trading system is and trade with systems, or at least know what they are and are working that way. But most people don't even know what a trading system is. Most of the traders in the markets. So, and there are some reasons for that. And we just released a course, Introduction to Systems. And in that course, we go into the reasons why most people don't follow a system, but that's beyond the scope of today's conversation. But realize they're not just lazy necessarily. There are some reasons why they're not trading with systems. So let's look at a very, very simple definition of a trading system for those of you who don't know or could use a refresher. So it's a way of generating trades based on your beliefs. So Van's probably most famous for that saying, you don't trade the markets, you trade your beliefs about the markets. So you generate trades based on your beliefs, which gives you at a minimum, and this is a minimum, we actually have more like 10 or 12 parts of a system, but it's at least an entry point, some way to define your initial risk, some way to say, okay, I'm losing some money here, the trade's not working out, I'm going to get out. So that's your initial risk, and have rules to define that. An exit point, a reason to get out, whether you are in that situation where you lose money from right off the get-go to, I'm in a profitable position. Now, when do I get out? How and when do I get out? That's the exit rules. And then a position sizing strategy designed to help you meet your objectives. And in TharpThink, your objectives are not met by the trading system. Your trading objectives, it's about making money. Yep. That set of objectives is realized through the position sizing strategy that you have to have a system for, but it's the position sizing strategy that actually helps you reach your objectives. And we go through this in exercise in some of the workshops, right? With that marble bag game, if you've heard about it. Everybody gets the same trades, and each of the teams, I don't think we've ever had a situation except when some of the teams will go bankrupt. Each team has a different net equity at the end of the game, even though everybody got the same objectives. And why? It's because of position sizing strategies. Okay, so that it's a key part of trading systems, and it's something that's not well understood or not well taught or expected in a lot of areas of trader education in the market. All right, so question is, do you need a system, right? And I'll liken this to golf. If you were to show up at a golf course and go out on the first tee without a set of clubs, and you pick up the ball and you throw it down the fairway, and you walk to the ball and you throw it again, that might be a game. That's not golf though, right? With golf, you've got to have some clubs. Somebody might come and kick you off the course if you're trying to do that. So you can't play golf without a set of clubs, but can you trade without a system? Do you need a system to trade? No, you don't need a system to trade. Brokerages are more than happy to let you click a few mouse buttons and transfer some money and start, quote unquote, trading. They're happy to let you do that. So no, you don't need a system to trade, but you do need a system if you are interested in trading for a long time. If you want to take a business approach to trading, it's not a hobby. It's not something you're doing for fun. You're taking a business approach, trying to be professional, trying to make some money, trying to limit your losses. So in that scenario, yes, you do need a system. If you're trying to generate more consistent results, a trading system will help you do that. If you want to decrease the amount of stress you're experiencing when you trade, a system will help you do that. I remember the first time I had been trading for a while before I ran across Van and took some workshops and did the super trader program and all that. But the first time that I started trading again and I had a system the rules to follow, it was like, wow, this is so easy in a sense. It was a lot easier than trading without a system because all I had to do was follow the rules. I didn't have to worry about what if this happens or what if that happens. I had a set of rules and I knew how those rules worked. And if you come up with a set of rules and you follow those rules, then it's a lot less stressful activity. There is still stress involved. Yes, you've got money on the line, but it de-stresses the whole process exponentially. So if you want to trade with less stress, yes, you need a system. If you want to improve your results over time and you have a set of rules, you can go adjust those rules and test the difference in results. So if you want to improve over time, you can do that with a set of rules. If you're trading discretionarily, how do you do that? I don't know. I don't know if you can, because each time comes up, you use some discretion. It's like, well, my discretion's better than it used to be, maybe, but you can't plan on that. You can't measure it. So if you want those kinds of aspects to your trading, then yes, you need a system. All right. So why trade with a system? We touched on some of these, right? Business versus a hobby. You can have the right tool for the right situation. Market conditions vary, right? You've got bull quiet markets and you've got bear volatile markets and you've got other market types. But what works when the market is in a bull quiet, it's just kind of creeping up steadily without a whole lot of variability. That's a different set of rules than if it's bear volatile. If it's going down and it has really big down days and really big up days and really big gaps. You also get a probabilistic estimate of results. That's a fancy way of saying you kind of know what's going to happen. Not exactly, not with a whole lot of precision or maybe with a good amount of precision, but you have some sense of the probabilities of what should happen when you trade following your rules. Right? Mentioned lowering the stress from trading. It increases your confidence. I have a better idea of what's supposed to happen. And if I just follow my rules, I've got a really good idea. You can improve your results over time. And that improving the results counts in two ways, probably more, but just two big ways. Consistency. You have an idea if my trading system, if I execute my trading system quarter to quarter in the right market conditions, then I've got some idea of what that should generate. And I should see that quarter after quarter. I've also might be able to increase my net winnings, my net earnings over time as well. So that's another form of improving your results. And then with the system, you can use position sizing strategies as a huge edge. That can give you a big advantage reaching your objectives. And you can trade the same system as somebody else, but if you have a different set of objectives and they have a different set of objectives, you might be trading the same system, you might be executing the same rules, but you're going to have different results because your objectives and your strategy is different than somebody else's. All right, so that's why you might want to, I would encourage you to trade with the system. So let's see about AI now. Let's talk a little bit about AI. So the second question, and it looks like some of you answered this already, have you used ChatGPT or some other generative AI tool? Yes or no? So Sarah, can you throw up the survey questions again? Let's see. Now, ChatGPT went from 0 to 100 million users in 2 months. It's amazing if you have seen any of those charts that show that. It goes up exponentially. It's almost like a vertical line compared to months and years of previous technologies that people have used. So let's see here. We've got go to question number 2. Have you used ChatGPT or some other generative AI tool? So we've got majority of folks answering yes. So go to question number 2 and click on yes or no. And we'll get past the halfway point here. So I would encourage you, anybody who has not used ChatGPT, to go play around with it. It's not very scary. You just ask it questions. It's neat in that, if you want to search something in Google, you go to Google and you type in the question or the topic, and it brings up a whole bunch of websites, and then you have to look at the websites and try to find the information. And sometimes that's easy and sometimes it's not. But in these generative AI tools, you type in a question and you can be very robust. You can be very descriptive about your question and the kind of answer you're looking for, and it will come back with the answer, or I don't know if I should say the answer, but an answer. Okay, so we've got more than half, but not a lot more than half, have used ChatGPT or some other AI tool. Interesting. Good. Okay. Great. So Sarah, that's good for now. Thank you. We've got a third question coming up in a couple of minutes, but we'll get to that in just a moment. All right. So as a lot of people, if you hear the talk about ChatGPT or AI, question comes to mind. In the old days, several months ago, newer traders would go looking for this holy grail, this idea of a system that would generate all kind of, huge returns, great returns. And that thinking process may be shifting now. Maybe you don't need a holy grail system, but if you can use AI is the holy grail now, right? Because it can give you kind of system that will generate these unbelievable holy grail kind of returns and take you to the promised land. So is AI the new holy grail? It's a question to consider. Let's keep going here and keep that in the back of our minds. So third question, have you used ChatGPT or another generative AI tool to help your trading? Have you asked it a trading question? So Sarah, if you can throw that up one more time. This is the last survey question for the day here. So go down to question number 3 and yes or no. For the folks who answered no, just go ahead and answer no again on the previous question. That's fine. And here we have, even if you did answer yes on the previous question, this question is referencing, have you used one of these AI tools for your trading yet? So only a few folks, so 1 out of 4 or so. Interesting. Okay, good. Okay. I wish we had time to talk about how you're using it and what the results were, but we'll keep going here and you can talk with other folks, other traders that you know about that. And as the weeks and months go by here, we'll be hearing a lot more about that. We're going to add a section to the systems workshop coming up here about using AI in trading system development. Okay, great. Thank you very much. Okay, so that concludes the survey question. Let's talk about this a little bit. The benefits of using AI to develop a trading system. Well, what's AI good at? It can summarize, it can distill down huge amounts of information. It can distill down all kinds of information that's all over the internet and put that into a digestible summary, a digestible written piece that you can read and not have to spend hours, weeks, months, years combing the internet to find that information. So it's valuable in that way. It's good at data analysis, and we could say it's enhanced data analysis. It can crunch through huge amounts of numbers and help with that. It also helps with automation and efficiency. You're able to use AI in ways, I have heard this, I don't know how to do this yet, but you can use it to automate a lot of functions that are online or automated or that you have to execute now, and thereby improve your efficiency a lot because you don't have to do this. You can let the AI take care of that. So there are some benefits to using AI to develop a system. Now, there's some risks too, right? You can get some bad information if you don't know much about or anything about the answer for the questions you're asking AI. You will get information back that looks good, sounds good, seems to make sense, but it's actually bad information. So be very leery about AI answers that you get if you don't know the area that you're asking about. It can also make system errors in its algorithms. And if you don't know what you're looking at, you may not notice that. There's some data quality issues with the amount of information that AI takes in from all over the internet. Not all the information on the internet is of high quality. So there can be some issues around quality there. It'll optimize performance based on historical information, right? Now that might sound similar to, and it's actually very similar to, if not the same as, people who go through backtesting regimens and optimize a system on a platform based on historical information. So the problem with that is history doesn't repeat. It often rhymes, like Mark Twain used to say, especially in the markets, but it doesn't ever match. So when you optimize based on historical, you may not ever see those results again. And that's not to say it's going to be bad necessarily, but it's to say you can optimize on historical price data and not come up with a system that knocks it out of the park. All right. So those are all some risks, but there is one big limitation for using AI for trader development. What is that? Well, you see all those people? That's just a very small fraction of the number of people who are in the markets on a daily basis trading. Trading for you and me is a personal experience. Each of us has different reasons for trading, different strengths that they bring to the market, different weaknesses that they bring to the market, different ideas and beliefs about what trading involves and what trading can bring and what trading can generate. So what's missing from anything that you get from AI is the you factor. You are not in the picture when it comes to trading, and you have to be in the picture for your trading. So there's Narrow here and is pointing at something that'll show up in just a second. One of the animations is off a little bit. Okay, so this is the Holy Grail is not out there in some system or in some set of answers from ChatGPT or anywhere else. It's in you. So this model that we have developed here, based on Van's Tharp principles, is all about you. Peak performance mindset, right here. Position sizing, trading mastery, trading process architecture, transformational growth in the center there. That's all you. You are part of that picture, or you make up that picture. There is technical information, there is technical knowledge that's involved in some of these. And right now we're talking about developing trading systems, which falls under the trading process architecture. So on a trading basis, the architecture involves a trading system. At a business level basis, it involves your business plan and how you structure your business. But this idea of having a process, a structure, and being able to define that and refine that over time, that falls into that particular area of the model. But becoming a master in whatever system or systems that you're trading, that's involving you. You can take two people who trade the same system, and one of them does it extremely well and one of them does it not so well. So the mastery that you develop by trading over time with experience turns into better results, right? Position sizing, that goes back to your objectives and it ties in with your trading system. Your trading system is an outgrowth of you, so that part of it is you as well. And peak performance mindset, that's psychology, right? There's I guess you could get some help from AI in terms of processes and techniques maybe, but you have to do it. So in transformational growth, that's your transformational growth. So all of this is you. So you are the missing element from anything you get out of AI. The other thing, or things that you won't find in AI that you can't get out of AI, relates back to the you process, but they're great models, right? Van had 100 plus Tharp principles, and each one of those is a model. And from a trading system standpoint, those involve R multiples, the risk multiple that you get out of any trade. So that means you have to define risk, and then you have to take the result and define it in terms of what you are willing to risk. Market types. being able to understand for yourself and classify for yourself market behavior in different types, and then developing systems for each one of those market types. Your trading objectives, how much you're interested in making from an equity return standpoint, and how much you're willing to risk. Those are personal, and being able to have a model around that, understand what good trading objectives look like, sound like, read like, great model to use. The big picture, right? What's happening in the macroeconomic environment? What process do you have for measuring that? What effects does that have on the markets that you trade? And how does that affect what you are trading? So being able to discern that in an inflationary environment, commodities might do really well, and I want to trade commodities here coming up, but I don't have any systems for that. Well, that big picture as part of your overall process and having systems work there is a great model. System quality number. How do you measure the performance of your system? If you're thinking, well, I wanted to make 20% last year and only made 18%, that misses a whole realm of your trading, because you're not looking at system quality. You're not looking at the system performance. You're talking about your equity returns. And that has a lot to do with your position sizing strategy, and less to do with your trading system. So understanding what you're supposed to get out of your trading system, and then how you use your position sizing strategies along with that, are two distinct models. So these are the kind of models that we focus on in the systems development workshop, which is coming up. But there are also great models that you have to be involved with, and you have to work yourself, and that you're not going to get an answer out of AI or any other kind of intelligence tool that's automated, right? This here is real intelligence, and it's not the model so much, but it's your application. And I just want to finish with, we've got the systems workshop here. If you're interested in becoming more expert in those kind of models and improving your trading, your 1R risk, right? Your investment in the workshop is $16.95. So if you're able to come back with a system that generates really nice returns on a modest amount of money, that 1R risk will be a multi-R positive winner for you with the improvements in your trading. Now, there is a link there, Sarah, if you can throw into chat the actual link. If you're interested or want some more information, there's a lot more information on the page. Click on the link. If you're interested in the workshop, but you're not sure, I'd recommend just take the Intro to Systems e-learning course to get a better idea of what systems involved and why people don't trade with systems, and how to think about systems a little bit better. And I'll finish up with, if you're not interested right now in the workshop, if you're not so interested in the e-learning course, I would recommend the Trade Your Way to Financial Freedom book. The title was publisher chosen, but it would be better titled more about Van Tharp's Tharp Think ideas about trading systems, and it's a low risk trade, so to speak. It's in the neighborhood of $20 as opposed to the e-learning course or to the workshop. And I had been helping Van teach the systems workshop for a number of years. And just a couple of years ago, I picked the book up and I was flipping through it, and I was like remembering, there is so much good information in here. So if you like books and you want to learn more about systems, I would definitely say find that on Amazon or your bookseller of choice. I would also say too, if you're looking at used copies, make sure you got the second edition. He made a bunch of upgrades to the book in the second edition that he did some years later. Okay. All right, good. Okay, so that's the prepared part of the presentation. Based on some of the questions we're getting and some of the conversations going on, we're adding a section to the workshop about using AI in the system development process. And that it kind of comes in line with the way that Van structured the Super Trader program. And I say that because for the super trader program, Van had super traders come in, and the first part was the psychology part. So he had them go through all these different lessons and workshops based on improving psychology, making personal transformations. The second part of the workshop was based on developing a business. And then the third part, the second part of the program, the third part of the program is really about system development. So once you know who you are, how you work, and you've got a business structure set up to help you accomplish that with objectives in mind for the business, then you can start feeling or picking which kind of trading systems will fit into that business structure and fit into your psychology. Because usually it's the other way around, right? People go out and start looking for great systems and want to trade them. And sometimes they run across them. How many people have had this experience? You find somebody doing very well with the system, and they either teach it, or you can buy it, or you can subscribe to a newsletter and figure it out, and then wind up finding that you're not able to trade that system as well. And most oftentimes that comes down to making mistakes, not being able to follow the rules. That comes from trying to trade a system that doesn't fit you. And in the systems development workshop, we spent a lot of time on, and that questionnaire that you can download here, that helps you understand what kind of system fits you. Because for all the systems that are out there that are working for somebody else, that may not be, those may not fit you. They may not be what you need to be successful in your trading. Okay, so a big part of the workshop and Tharp Think is really trying to figure out you to understand what kind of systems will fit you. Because once you're trading those systems, once you trade a system that fits you, you can do extremely well. All right. So that's the presentation part of the webinar. Sarah, did any questions come in while we were going through that?
We didn't have any questions, but we had a couple people comment on their experience with AI when it comes to their trading. So David said he's only used it as an educational tool in his trading, not directly to quote unquote think for him.
Good. I would say that's a good strategy. Yes.
And then Paul says he's created several indicators and used ChatGPT to help with some of the research and the coding.
Oh, nice. Yes. Yes. I was surprised. I think I want to credit Ken Long, because he last week the announcement came out about this topic, and the day after Ken put a very elaborate, not so elaborate, but a really good prompt into AI and got like a 4,000 word answer out. And it can be prolific in the amount of material it puts out. But this idea that I've heard Ken say, and then I've heard a couple other people say, is, you don't have to focus so much on worrying about learning to program, but learning how to use AI to get the programming done for you. So yeah, good work. That one of the benefits of AI is its ability to start doing programming for you. And if you can be very clear about what you want it to program, you can get out some results that would take you much more time to program yourself or work with a programmer to get that done. So interesting. Great.
And then Clint says that he used ChatGPT to help with an Excel macro to scrape data for a custom watch list.
Oh, nice. Yeah, good work. Good work. Good. So you can see how, and there's an example of the automation, right? You can see how, with some knowledge about what you're trying to accomplish and the ability to use AI, that can improve your trader productivity, shall we say, efficiency, greatly. So excellent. Good. Other questions, other comments? Open it up here.
Well, DR chimed in. And he says that his favorite trading game of all time is in the course.
Yeah. DR helped teach the trading system workshop for a number of years, and he had fun running the game, I know. And when he was instructing, I was in a few of those. The participants had a great deal of fun as well. So thanks, DR. That was great. he had one situation where one team in a matter of a couple went from, I think it was something like, I don't remember the numbers, but maybe 100,000 up to $17 million in a very short order. And he called, as a regulator of the game, he called a break because it's like, wait, you know, is something matter with the marbles in this bag here? What's going on? And as it turned out, the bag was okay. This team had been very effective in their position sizing trading, and maybe a little lucky, but yeah, we kept going on at that point. So I remember that one. Cool. All right. Anybody else? And that's one of the things in the workshops, in Van Tharp Institute workshops, we focus on experiential learning. You can read books all day long, and you should, or you should read lots of books. You should read good material, but there's a difference. Let's go back to golf, right? If you read a book about golf, okay, you might become an expert based on what the book says, but until you go out to the golf course and pick up a club and swing at this ball, you really don't have a good sense of what golf is. And in our workshops, through the marble bag game and the other exercises, you have a much more evolved, better sense of what's involved in trading and the lessons Van's trying to teach through the workshop, rather than just being able to read it in a book. And that's, we go back to Peak 101 and the home study course. There's a lot of valuable psychological information processes in both of those, but there's certain material that you can only pick up, you can only learn through the experience of doing. And so in the 101 workshop, we do certain exercises that he couldn't write about in the home study course. And for that matter, there are certain exercises in the home study course where you go away by yourself and quietly think and write out your answers that you really can't do in a group of people working together. That's more introspective. And then the experiential part is a different set. So we could go on about that. Any other questions or comments?
We've got one more that kind of was in your answer there, but is it completely safe to depend on ChatGPT, or should it only be viewed as a tool, not something to be completely dependent on?
Interesting question, and I'll answer it based on my limited knowledge and experience with it so far. When you know about a topic, and that doesn't mean you have to be a subject matter expert necessarily, but it's interesting the results you get out. And it's interesting because when you're knowledgeable about a particular area, you can look at those answers and say, oh, I hadn't thought of that, or that's interesting, or that thing, that ChatGPT is just way off, maybe even wrong. And so you are aware of what's coming out. But if you are a novice, I would be not only wary, I would not depend on the answers coming out there. It might be a good starting point, but anything that comes out is worth further research because it doesn't know it's wrong, right? It's gathering all this information from all over the internet, and it's using its algorithms to put together an answer. And if there's bad information on the internet, if there's not bad programming, but insufficient programming in the algorithms, then it will produce an answer that sounds great, but it might be inaccurate or even wrong. So I would be very leery about answers that come back in areas that you are not knowledgeable about. So it's a good point to go do some more research, and it's a good intro. I've asked some questions that just to see what comes out of it around areas I don't know anything about. It's like, okay, that's interesting, but I'm not going to go put money on the line. I'm not going to trade based off of that. So my limited experience so far. And as we go on here and it becomes more normal for people to use this, and as the AI companies develop their algorithms, that answer will evolve over time. But I think it's prudent to be prudent about the answers. Yeah. And I would encourage you to start playing with it if you have not started playing with it yet. It's just going to be the way we all do business here in the future. So learning about it earlier will help it become a useful tool for you earlier. All right. Anything else? If not, we will conclude
That's it for now. Yeah.
That's it for now. Okay. Well, thanks everybody. I would encourage you, if you want to learn more about trading system development, the process, and how it's not some black magic, and you can figure out a way, steps to do that, and get some really good tools to register for the workshop. Okay. Thanks everybody.
Thank you.